That was adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, we are on there now, finally. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I am trying to get better at it. I just need a new computer really bad. And just so you guys know, when you support the live, that's what you're supporting, is helping me upgrade my computer so we can seamlessly be over on YouTube and Twitch, actually. If I get the computer going, I have Twitch also. So, but now you've seen some of my shows, but I just like to always tell people how we do this. I'm going to start by asking you some icebreaker questions. And then after I get done, we're going to invite people to come up. Sometimes they're shy, so I'll read the questions from the chat if they are too shy to come up. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to play everybody's favorite game, Divine or Declined. Okay? Sound good?
Okay.
Let me see if we got anybody over on... Oh, I didn't even play my song. What am I doing? Let's start with a song. Here we go, you guys. I don't want to find contacts. Don't do that to me, TikTok.
Right?
Okay.
That's so cool.
Darth Dawkins 2. Whoops, wrong one. That's Darth Dawkins. Here we go, you guys.
It's a brand new day and she's back again. Get yourself a beverage, let's get settled in. It's Decon Q&A with CrystalJae.
Hi, Hannah.
Hey, all our favorite heathens gathered in one place. All our questions answered, our favorite creators on display. It's Decon Q&A with CrystalJae.
Keep tapping the screen, sharing out the live, and don't forget to gift my beautiful guest today, Deborah.
3, 2, 1, get ready for the fun. Decon Q&A with CrystalJae.
All right, you guys, let's get to the questions today. Let's get to the questions. All right, here we go. If you could have any career or job and immediately be qualified for it, you don't have to, you'll just like, if it needs schooling and everything, don't worry, you already got it, okay? What would be your dream job, but you have to do it until the day you die?
Supreme Court Justice.
Ooh, I love that, and I would love for you to be one. Yes, that was good. That is really good. I like that. I don't know what I would do if I could do it until the day I die and be automatically qualified. I think I would be a small business consultant because I've run a lot of small businesses, and I think that helping small businesses is something I would like to do. Like, I like to help entrepreneurs and people who are just starting out to see some of the things that they don't understand. Like, a lot of times people have a really great idea, but they've never had any actual business experience, so they don't understand how to manage things and stuff. I think I would like to help small businesses.
Nice.
If you could add a word to the dictionary, what would it be, and what does it mean?
Oh, I had actually thought of one years ago, back in like 2009, and it had to do with submittals. I cannot remember what the word was, but it was essentially submitting a submittal. So you didn't have to have this repetitive nature within the sentence, but I can't remember what it was.
I want a
It's like
word.
submittalate or something. I don't remember.
Submittalate.
Yeah.
I want a word that describes the feeling you get when you want to go through your computer screen to punch somebody in the face.
Oh.
I just want a word for that. Like, if we can all come up with a word for that, that would be the word I would.
Like virtual
Because
violence.
yeah, yeah. Something like that. You know, where you can't take it. You need to go through your computer screen or your phone screen and
Right.
slap the person on the other side. I don't know. We do need that. Let's see. If you no, let's see. You get to throw a dinner party with 3 esteemed guests. Who are they and what are you having for dinner?
Esteemed guest number 1, Kamala Harris. Esteemed guest number 2. Are they living or already unalived?
Let's make them all living.
Oh, dang it. I was going to say Nikola Tesla. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Number 2, let's see. Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yes. That's a good one.
And let's see, who do I want for number 3? Probably Thinker.
Ooh, that's good too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
And then we're having duck with a red wine reduction sauce.
Okay, okay. I am going to have, let's see. Let's go with Greta Thunberg for one.
Ooh.
Okay. And then I want to have somebody kind of fun and spicy in there. So I'm going to go with Nicki Minaj. I think she's going to throw some fun in there.
Probably.
And then let's go with somebody who's going to make me laugh my ass off. I'm going to bring Joel. Joel and I will be laughing our ass off, but also learning some stuff. And for dinner, we're going to have Gordon Ramsay's beef Wellington.
And that is really good. I've had it.
I've been to one of his restaurants, but I did not have the beef Wellington when I did. So
I couldn't pass it up.
I went to the burger one in Vegas.
Okay.
You know, not his, you know, fancy. I went to the one where it's more like burgers and stuff like that. So it didn't have beef Wellington on the menu, but it was a delicious burger, though. It was really good. Let's see. What is the oldest thing you own?
Ironically, it's probably going to be my grandfather's pocket Bible.
I was wondering if you had a really, really old Bible. That's so funny. I do own quite a few antiques, but I think really the oldest thing I own is a fossil. So I'm going to have to go with that because I do have a fossil. So.
I do have one of those, I think it's called the ammonite, the swirly.
Yeah.
I have one of those, I got it in Arizona, so yeah. That's probably the oldest thing.
Would you rather win every argument with every man who argues with you Or would you rather be able to immediately shut up a man every time he mansplains to you?
Well, it depends, because it is winning the argument, meaning that he actually understands my side of the argument.
Yes, we're going to say
Then
he
that
fully comprehends and he, bows down to your knowledge. Like he 100% surrenders.
Yeah. Then that one.
Okay. I do hate when men mansplain though. I hate it so much. I actually use it sometimes though because I realize I'm not getting through to a man. So I get another man to say the same thing I just said to help the other man understand.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to have to go with you. I think I'm going to want to win every argument from here into perpetuity with every man. What was the last thing you did a deep dive research about? I should pin that, huh?
Probably the origins and participants of the Council of National Policy and ADF.
Oh, wow. And what were you researching that for?
I needed to know. I just needed to know for my own sanity, so that I'm not gaslit in conversations. And I just think it's necessary to be up on. Partially, it's my neurodivergence too. Like if I get really interested in something, I'm like I'm going down the breadcrumbs. Where is this leading me to from its origins? And it's started pretty benign, but where it led me, I was like, oh, okay. This was all in relation to Project 2025.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. What about you?
The last thing I went on a deep dive research was because of the book. Somebody mentioned it last night, I think on, maybe it was Mezzo's live. I start to get all the lives mixed together. Do you do that? Like you forget who was talking to who after a while? I can't remember, but I think it was Mezzo's live.
I don't even try anymore.
Yeah, I meant Joel's live. I guess Joel was live last night. Mezzo was the co-host. But was that the woman? Was the woman on there? You guys in chat was Kat on that one? Is that who she was on? I think that was. Anyway, somebody mentioned reading the book "Is God a Moral Monster" by Paul Copan. And so I wanted to do a little research on that. So I started going on a little deep dive. Basically, she told him that would be a really good book to read. But when you go and look it up, you find out that Paul Copan, of course, is a Christian philosopher and apologetics.
Of course.
Blah, blah, blah. So do you think he thought God was a moral monster? No, he didn't. Anyway, so I started doing a deep dive on all that. And then you know how it goes. Pretty soon you realize, oh, I could probably write a research paper on this now. I've been going down this rabbit hole for so long. So yeah, that was the last thing I was researching. Let's see. You can teleport anywhere, anytime, or you can fly anywhere, anytime. Which one would you prefer to do? Teleport or fly?
Fly. Absolutely, fly. And the reason, I mean, teleporting is kind of cool in and of itself. But I have, from the time I was 7, I wanted to be a pilot. And I have had the opportunity to pilot a plane. I took
cool.
one lesson and I got to land and take off by myself with the instructor
Way to
there.
Go! That's
but,
badass, Deborah. I love that.
But since I was a kid, I've had dreams of being able to just fly like Superman. So that would probably be the one for me. Even though teleporting, like, you can essentially at that point go through walls and escape anybody trying to, shoot a missile or something at you. But that's just the freeing feeling of flying,
I can understand that. I would rather teleport because I'm an instantaneous type of person. I want instant gratification all the time. That's probably my ADHD also, by the way. Anyway, and I'm scared of falling. So I'm scared of running into a bird and eating it or something. So I'll take the safe route and just teleport me there, Hey, you guys, I have a quick little flash goal. I need 2 more people to give me the little kitty with the thumbs up. If you can do that and you haven't already, I'd appreciate it to help me reach my little flash goal. So just 2. Wow, that was a really loud noise. Thank you so much. Okay, you guys, we're about ready to have people come up. So if you have questions for Deborah, don't forget, Deborah is the author of the amazing book, Crucifying the Bible. And so come on up, ask her questions about her authorship, ask her questions about her deconstruction. She has an amazing story. I have one more question, or actually 2 more, I guess. No, I guess I got a couple more, but go ahead and line up in the guest box and I'll bring you up in just a minute. Would you rather be invisible or be able to read minds?
Probably read minds. Yeah. Because you never know what people are thinking. And you never know who has nefarious intent or not. And the people, like, you can be in a room with somebody and be invisible, but they may never say what's on their mind.
Yeah, that's true.
So, read minds.
I remember back into the day, there was a movie. What's the anti-Semitic asshole's name who made the Jesus movie? What's his name? Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Where he could read minds of women or something.
Oh, yeah.
And they showed. You remember which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, geez. Now I'm trying to remember the name of that.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But in it, I remember him hearing thoughts that we wouldn't think about that you would be able to know or hear or what have you, right? They were depressing. They were sad. They were just horrific sometimes. And I don't think I can handle that. I don't think I can handle knowing certain things about people. And I'm afraid if I could read their minds, then I would also end up having a bunch of preconceived notions about people and stuff. So I don't think I personally could do that. So I'm going to go with invisibility. But I'm going to use it just to play pranks on people.
Oh, yeah. No, but... I've had too many times where my heart's been broken, and I would absolutely want to know whether the person I'm in a relationship with is there for genuine purposes or not.
Yeah.
Right? I just, I was seeing somebody for, 6 or 7 weeks, and the information that ended up coming out near the end was just, it made me cry just because I know that their view of certain people in this world is just a horrific take. It's a shit take. And had I known that, I wouldn't have invested so much time into that person.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
rather know up front.
That makes sense. That really does. And I'm sorry that happened to you. That sucks. That really does.
I'm single again.
All right, you guys heard it here first.
Right.
And she's gorgeous, and she's smart, and she's just an independent woman. So, like, she's amazing. She's a cat. She risked it out. Okay. What brings out your silly side?
Thinking about like sci-fi stuff, or if somebody buys something from IKEA that needs to be put together and I get to do it.
How fun!
Because I love puzzles, and yeah. And then like talking to my sister, because we both bounce off of each other with the sarcasm and stuff like that, and silly jokes. But I embrace that side of me.
I love that. I love that. My kids and I are very silly together, and my daughter-in-law. My daughter-in-law, forget it. If you get the two of us, and actually, I don't even know how my son handles it when the two of us are together, because it's kind of like him having to deal with us in stereo, you know? And, but we are very freaking silly together. Yeah. And we end up having so many inside jokes because of all the silly shenanigans we do, you know, like we're always cracking inside jokes and stuff. So yeah, my kids and my daughter-in-law definitely bring out my silly side.
Yeah.
If you could bring back any fashion trend, what would it be?
I think it's a tie between the finger waves that were flat on the head and hats.
Oh yes! God damn, let's bring back hats. Let's bring back all kinds of outrageous hats. I would love having a hat collection and not have it just collect dust because nobody wears them.
Right.
But yes, hats would be great. I'm bringing back shoulder pads. I know half of the people hate them, but I freaking loved having big Joan Crawford shoulders in the 80s. It was so great. And then we'd wear a big belt and cinch it at our waist, and we'd have that very triangular look to us.
Sure.
And I kind of like that.
Okay.
Hey, Greta, how are you today?
Hey, how are you ladies?
Doing good.
You look like you're having fun. That's always good.
Yeah.
My question is, a lot of people think about writing and they want to write a book, but they don't. What got you to actually write and publish a book?
I have been told since I was in my early 20s that I should write a book. And I just inherently knew that someday I would. And I never had a clear, focused reason to do it. There were the Christian market was so saturated between Beth Moore and all of the guys and the apologist arguments. It was so saturated. But when I came out of religion, I sort of just existed for a couple of years and doing the obligatory day in and day out. The book actually developed by accident. My sister had texted me.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's because I brought up the YouTube to check for questions.
Oh, okay. There was my sister texted me a video about a pastor that was saying that the C19 antidotes, if you will, were the mark of the beast. And I was like, what?
Right.
And so I started a response, and I was like, oh, that's a lot to type out in just a text message. So it was really slow at work anyway. I started a response, and I thought I'll just copy and paste it into an email later. And 3 pages later, I'm like, you know what? I had a lot to say about this. And it's not necessarily that topic in specific, but I was like, it goes back and it keeps going back. And then it goes back to this apologist argument. And I had already made so many like Facebook notes and my own apologist arguments over the years that I'm like, I think I just started a book. And the market is not saturated, especially with strong female voices.
Right.
So it happened accidentally and organically. And having loved writing for so many years, it just, from start to finish, it was 6 months. I just pulled all of my...
Because you already had all the information basically together.
I already had it. I just had to reverse engineer it.
Wow.
I love that.
So,
that is awesome.
There is a second book. It's very academic. It's highly cited. It's already published, but it's under a pseudonym. So I don't market it, and I don't tell people that I'm the author.
Okay, I might DM you and say, can I get the name of the book? I won't tell anyone. You don't have to tell me, though. Oh.
It's for my own protection.
And then was there a specific person that inspired you with the type of writing, or does it just kind of also come organically?
Well, it was going to be quite a bit different. It was going to model some of the greats and that are male in the market. But I had a couple of people review it and say, to make it easier for just the general person to pick up and read and understand, they were trying to gently tell me, we know that your vocabulary is like really high, but bring it down. Mm-hmm. And so I intended to make it like a handbook where there's still quite a bit of me generally raw, but I made it more simple and shorter. I didn't over pad it and expand my thought process to say the same thing 5 times. I just laid it out in the most simple, basic way that I could, and then gave citations. I showed my work. So teachers everywhere are proud.
Wow.
Have you read it, Grana?
I have not. I need to write down the name because I'm terrible with names. So.
Crucifying the Bible by Deborah Grace.
I will go purchase it.
The way she tells this story, to me, this is what I get from it, okay, is you are going through Deborah's journey with her while she's figuring it all out. It almost feels like you're sitting with her in real time while she's finding the things that help her to deconstruct. I'm not saying that that's exactly how it went, but that's the way it feels as she's going through the book and she talks about her journey, and you can hear her voice in it, and it's really, really good. But I will recommend, I got it on Audible because I had an Audible subscription, hey, Eli. So I was using one of my credits or whatever. But then after I got it, I realized there were tables and stuff that I could have been looking at, but I don't get it with the Audible. But if you'd like to have something read to you, you can get it on the Kindle edition, have it read to you through the, an app or whatever, and it has the tables.
Nice.
Alexa will read it to you. Yeah.
Yes.
I do want to say that it's also topical. you don't actually have to read it in order, but there are so many, like each apologist argument is broken down into a chapter. So like the topic of tithing, the topic of the sin sacrifice, the topic of atonement, Isaiah 51, contradictions, get real, like all of these fake things that don't exist in real life, that's all listed in there. And some of the chapters are incredibly short, but there's so much information in that little paragraph or two, and then the tables. It didn't need to be long. It didn't need to be drawn out or 400 pages long. It didn't.
And you know what? Let me tell you something else too. I'm not just saying this stuff either. Like, I want you to know, like, I read the book. I interviewed Deborah back when I read it like a year ago almost. And I read Jaron's book. And I'm going to tell you that for me, the difference is that Jaron's book, which is Christ Before Jesus.
Right. I have that one.
Yeah. That one is very, it's very compressed data information, and it can be overwhelming sometimes when you're very analytical, lots of information coming to you at once or whatever. And so it was harder for me with my ADHD and stuff to read that one. But Deborah's book isn't like that. It just flows, and yet it's still just packed full of information. I cannot even begin to tell you. And you know, after listening to these lives and debates and stuff, a lot of times you think, I've heard it all. You haven't heard it all if you haven't read her book. I'm just telling you, you really haven't, because she brings a very fresh approach to this. She brings an approach of where she is evolving in her religion throughout the book. You know, wouldn't you say that? Like, you kind of, like, you go, you become Messianic Jewish at one point in the book. You know, you're trying different things to figure out who you are, and we get to walk with her through all that and learn why she would change her mind. What were the things that came to her that made her go, wait, this isn't the answer either. I'm wrong again, you know? And it's great. It's just really good.
That's wonderful. I think Jason wants to come up so I can come down, because he doesn't want so many people, it sounds like. So, but so nice to kind of officially meet you.
I don't even
He said
see
it's
Jason
too
in
loud
the box.
for him to. No, he said it's too loud where he's at to come.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
Got it. Okay.
I'm like, I don't even have him in the box.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what's.
The question is, what is my writing process like? I don't really know how to explain that. I know that I've learned a few things along the way that make the writing process easier. You don't sit down just to write a book. You outline different thoughts. You just keep writing, you know, a thought here, a thought there, and you write that. It's not, I never force myself to sit down and commit an hour or two to writing. It's organic for me. So I have a couple of ideas that are being tossed around my head right now to write another book. But unless I feel like it, I'm not forcing myself to sit down. I have a 9-to-5 job. What I will say as a couple of suggestions that I've heard from very great writers over the years. If you're writing a fiction story, you write the beginning, you write the end, and then you fill it in to the end. That way you have a continuous line of thought and you're not trailing off into 100 different rabbit holes.
That's funny, because I was
where
just
your end is.
I was just in a writing workshop today, and she said you don't have to know your ending until you're about halfway through.
And that's interesting, because some of the greatest writers on the planet know what the end is going to be before they start.
That makes sense to me.
Right. The other thing is, whether you're writing a biography or a fiction or nonfiction, sometimes the best thing to do is to you want to grab the person in the front end of what you're writing. So your first couple of paragraphs need to grab somebody by the shirt and pull them in. So the best way to do that is to think of the most descriptive, thrilling or exciting or scary or heart-wrenching moment and capture that in the first couple of pages of your book in great detail. And then start your book so that they know that there's something in this book that's going to bring them back to that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But here is your like preview. And that may be where the story starts, is that one moment. But
have you ever read The Time Traveler's Wife? The most captivating, I think it's The Time Traveler's Wife, maybe it's a different book, but the most captivating beginning of a book I've ever read. It started off with, when I was 6 years old, the mailman ran over my head. I was captivated instantly. Just like, what? What is going on? That's all it was, and then it went on, you know.
Right.
But now I think it was a different book.
I don't necessarily think that I have a process, but I try to be as authentic, clear, concise. I think I use the same vernacular lexicon that I do in real life. And so when you're reading things that I've written, it sounds like me. It sounds the way that I speak. A lot.
As you use a conjunction. That was funny.
No, I'm not well, like
you said I don't use conjunctions. That's what cracked me up.
Right. I think that's probably my
I love it.
Yeah. Sometimes I do, I guess.
Deborah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your Christian upbringing?
So I was baptized again at 4, baptized again at 7, baptized again at 12, baptized again at 13. 6 different times. But my family was very devout. Specifically, my mom was part of she was the leader of the intercessory prayer group. We played Bible trivia. We read the Bible nightly, unless we were sick. My dad wrote songs, and we went from church to church, and he would share those songs. I think my brother did that once. He hated it, and my dad never made him do it again. We went to a few different churches over the years. It only mattered to my mom that they were a genuine, weird denomination that was out in left field. But as long as it was consistent to the text, the underpinnings there were that it was Pentecostal. You know, she was filled with the Spirit. She spoke in tongues. Many different to speak in tongues, but I was like, that wasn't my gift. You know, if we're supposed to be a hand or a foot or a neck or a knee for Christ, one of those people, and it should be fine, and whatever. But
Whatever.
going to camps or one of the camp leaders. I ended up being married to a youth pastor and helping for the teen group. We went on the NAPF conference down to San Diego and out to Georgia and kept entrenching this faith into my psyche, which ended up being part of my identity. Because it's all about unalived self.
Mm-hmm.
Be part of the Borg of Christ.
You got baptized several times. Was that your parents doing, or were there times where you were like, I need to rededicate?
Yeah, 3 of them were my choice, and 3 of them were not my choice. So as a baby at 4, and it's
Rebaptize you.
we changed churches, and the leadership decided that the baptism in the other church.
Weird. I can't take how weird Christianity is. It's so weird. I don't know how any of them know who's going to, because they didn't do it right. You know?
Right.
That's so weird to me. Nobody would have accepted my baptism. As a Methodist, you know, version shit in Methodist. So I was like 3 and I got sprinkled on the head.
Well, so the one when I was 12, at, in the front of the church. I did it again in my 30s, just because dedication, right? So much time had passed, and I was like, I just need to feel like all of this past is more than anything. I just needed that cleansing of the soul. Water magic. Anyway, and I wanted to have a baptism that was as close as to the way Jesus was ever. And I was actually in Puerto Rico, and I went to a river that drained out into the Caribbean Sea and was baptized. I guess we weren't far enough inland, and so when I came up, the first thing I said was, I still taste salt water.
Love it.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, I decided I needed to be baptized now. Baptized every time I recommitted my life to Christ, because as a Methodist, we don't believe you even have to be baptized. Okay, it's not a outward thing you do to show what's happening on the inside of you. You don't have to do it according to Methodist doctrine.
Well, there's nowhere in the
but as a teenager, I felt that now I was able to make my own decisions about my relationship with Jesus. So I got baptized in Strawberry Creek in Idlewild, California. A little mountainous town youth group or whatever, every time I had a guilty thought, I was like a real Christian, and I'll just keep rededicating my life to Christ. So I don't know how many times I did that. How many times I went to an altar call is beyond.
At school, we went to the Christian school, and the vacation Bible school ladies would come. And my mom told me that I would raise my hand to be saved every week. And my mom was like, why don't you
Rena, you're so cute! That is adorable! It does make them... so, eventually, you become an adult, okay? And then, what do you decide? A new denomination? What are you doing? What is Deborah doing?
I'm a youth pastor's wife, right? Was a custodian. I didn't care. I just, this was. He had known me since I was tuition and pick up as an adult, and the church liked him so much. He asked him to come on as the youth minister. So he did, and that continued on for many years. I think it was 4 years into our marriage, I ended up getting pregnant. The church didn't want to know from the annual reports how much they brought in. They didn't want to give and extend health benefits to me. So he went looking for another church.
Just need a minute, okay? I need just a minute. These fucking assholes get people who just give them their money and they can't even provide their spouse insurance. What?
Right.
Grifting grifters. What a disgust. Like, fuck that church, okay?
And to hire him and not give him an education, just you're supposed to go teach about God, but we're not going to teach you nothing about the Bible.
To be there because I knew far more about the scriptures than he did. A bit. And when I didn't know something, I leaned on my mom. Right? She had, since 12, been reading the scriptures daily. So I was there for about 4.5 years, and I don't want to get into why, but over the course of the next few years, my sister passed away. And for about a year, I can't. Initially, I went to a little church up in the mountains, and I was just sobbing and crying, right? Shoulders and said, hey, is there anybody in the leadership who can just pray with me? And not one, not two,
What? How about there's no one here today? Can I pray with you?
Where is that? Are two or more gathered in your name? That
Right.
I am also. What the hell? I mean, this is basic Christianity, people. Right?
You're not wrong. So I told God, I'm mad. I will be back. I still believed in God, but I know that, as an adult, you do have periods of time where there's this ebb and flow in your relationship with God. But I came back, and I came back with a vengeance, if you will. I came back roaring. I dug my heels in deeper, and um, continued to go to church and read my Bible and pray, and I started evangelizing as a Christian picked up. I had been studying politics, and I realized one day I need to put as much effort in and as much of the Bible as I knew. I went like Bible boot camp at this point. The Bible as I did that political side of me. And this just where I'm taking care of my mom. She's got stage 4 cancer. I took FMLA. I started taking care of my mom. Lived with time. I'm licking my wounds from a bad relationship, and she's helping me grow. And she had converted 14 years before I did. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I trust you. You're my truth teller. So dive into that. And I'm asking all these questions. And that's when my Torah observancy walk started. Who is Torah observant? We were married for 9 years, but we both deconstructed at the same time.
Wow.
It's longer
It is
than
really
that.
good when it happens like that, though, because the same with Doug and I, we ended up deconstructing. Then he would start hearing what I was listening to, like to you guys and stuff, and seeing your book laying around and stuff like that, and he was like, wait, but your ex was very supportive of your book, right?
He actually titled it. Yeah.
Good.
But this ex, my recent ex-husband of 9, and we both walked out of it together. But as I'm writing Crucifying the Bible, he's giving me pointers and, hey, you should insert tables, and you do that. And so that's how the title came about. So,
and I just want to clarify when I said that it's good that you're friends with your
I'm friends with 2 of my ex.
Oh,
2
good.
of my exes.
That's always nice, but I'm not saying for anyone else listening that it's bad if you're not. I'm just trying to clarify that.
No, amicable, even if you divorce. It's actually very grown up of you to do that. So
we were ever going to be at each other's throats.
Right.
But as well, the book. I just talked to him 2 days ago on the phone for an hour and a half. But I love his family. How's your life going? And it goes both ways. And we sit and talk about this, that, and the other, the world's news of the day. And we do that maybe once a month. We'll get on the phone and talk to each other. My son's father, our son together, and sometimes we talk about his girlfriend or what's going on in my life or whatever. It's fun, but it also takes just establishing healthy boundaries and figuring out who that person is prior to engaging in long term. Right. So at this point, I will recommend a book called How to Avoid Falling in Love with a Jerk by Dr. John Van Epp.
I like
that
it.
helps.
Toward observant.
Mm-hmm.
When do you start to deconstruct it all?
2 congregations. One of them was in, well, both of them could have been in person, but we started an online Torah teacher from the island. And when we moved stateside and ended up moving to that area. So there was a few locality differences, but our teachers that we would regularly go back and forth between. Both of those congregations essentially kicked us out because here I am digging into the word hours, sometimes a day, and find one of my studies that concluded that we're not in a new covenant. And here, that went over like a lead balloon. I started diving into tithing, and that didn't go over very well.
I'll bet that one didn't go
I bet that one
well.
didn't at all. Wait a minute, you can.
It's all about food. It's not about money. That didn't go over well.
Exactly. All right,
and
my
then,
phone's kind of cutting out, so I.
And then the final one prior to my deconstruction was if he is the 1-year-old lamb, then he could have only premises that he grew in grace and favor with God and with man.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that. To a 1-year-old male lamb, how do you put a 33-year-old man in there unless for a year? Yeah, that didn't go over very well either. And that's when the sinless one, that's what got us excommunicated from one church, and the tithing essentially got us kicked out a few months, and I'm listening.
Deborah also wrote the book How to Make Friends and Influence Churches.
No.
What? Just no, go on.
So I'm sitting at work one day and completely excoriating a Torah teacher. And I'm like, I am not going to listen to gossip. I'm going to listen to this Torah teacher and probably pick apart whatever he wrote, and then I'll move on. Have a series, a 7-video series, which is now 8, called The New Testament Unveiled. First one, and had to sit down because I almost passed out. And I probably turned 10 shades. I finished watching it and I went home. I didn't watch the second one. I didn't watch the third one. I went home and I told my ex our marriage is in trouble because I can't unsee what I've seen. He's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, you absolutely have to watch it." Gets himself comfortable, grabs a beer, pops it open, and asked me to pause it halfway through. And he was done. Because it was the emphasis.
Wow.
This Torah teacher was essentially saying, okay, I've done so much study that I can see. And he only needed to watch half of it. I needed the next 6 months to verify that what this guy. So we're going and talking with trying to find a synagogue and figure out how to convert. And it occurred to me one day that I need to vet the Old Testament. By the time I was done, my ex was done. It was the whole Bible was done. Griff and his family, was just finally starting to sort of. Anyway, I don't know all the dynamics, but I know they're all at least on talking terms again.
What was the video series called again?
The New Testament Unveiled by CrystalJae, because in some videos it's one way, and other videos it's another, and I think that's intentional.
Oh, that's now you've gone through the Old Testament. Did you start to write your book at this point now that you have gone through it all yet?
Yeah, well, it was from the time I saw the video to the time that I tossed away, because I'm anal like that. I need to make sure that no. I did have vertigo, and I had panic attacks, and I would wake up in the middle of the night. What is my purpose now? As I was realizing I don't need to walk into a restaurant and wonder, spiraling. Still, because I didn't know who I was. While I was taking care of my mom, I asked her for Christ, and so my identity was my faith. Now, without my faith, who am I? A mind and body retreat under the supervision of a psychiatrist shaman, I did partake in the Amazonian plant tea, just to sort of pre-panic spiral, and it helped. It definitely actually need that is very sad, and that just shows the kind of vision can have on people.
Absolutely.
So it was from that point until I started writing was so that was my shamanic experience writing the book in March of 2021.
Experience.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any religious experience at all with that?
I went into it with no expectations.
That's the best.
I went into it with ground and to process all of this trauma, and it didn't purge all of it, but it did get rid of the
Wow. That's really cool.
and that was the intent, that was the purpose, was just I did go back and participate, one to help a friend of mine, and so overall I've had 8 journeys.
That's amazing.
Perspective, none of it was religious. It was sacred. It felt sacred. It felt there was a gravity to what I was doing, but it never felt like I had to worship anything or anybody.
So did you fully deconstruct before?
I totally 100% tossed the Bible out as anything valid. Process is ongoing.
I agree.
Especially if you stay in these circles, in these groups that we've established here. And part of my purpose, I feel like my purpose, not as part of my deconstruction, keeps me in this, and I inevitably end up finding, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, I never put that together. Oh my goodness. And but you end up constructing a different worldview. You end up constructing a different set of friends without dogma.
Right. Absolutely. I feel that know about either whether it's biblical, historical, philosophical, scientifical, I don't know. You're all a bunch of goddamn brainiacs and nerds, and I love that. Okay?
What was the last thing you learned?
Okay, let me think. What about it? It's not so much like also it's not necessarily like a fact or something. It might be something I learn about myself, right? So I'll tell you what. So I realized that I was a Christian and the world started, when I was a Christian and the world started to close in on me. And I'm talking about the fact that I was a very serious draw towards the depression side of the bipolar. It's not like everybody else's mania. It's very much in my head where I don't always manifest it into like, cleaning or staying up for added down. And so when the world would start to close in on me as a Christian, when I would start to realize how many things I ran right now and our freaking president, and myself that God had a plan, right? And that I just didn't understand it. And that it was all going to be okay one day. And I just, this,
You
also,
should not.
yeah.
Sorry.
And when I would stop thinking about that right now, I can't stop thinking about the families being ripped apart. I can't stop thinking that bomb is landing on a hospital
Right.
while they're having a cup of coffee. I can't, like, my brain is having a really hard time processing. Like, I can't stop it. And before, I was like, God's gonna get him, right? There's gonna be retribution. One day, Jesus, people will face the wrath for what they have done, including this warmongering Cheeto president that we have. But I don't have that anymore. I don't have that he's gonna come and do some retribution. And I don't have that there's a greater plan and all that right now. That's what I'm working on. And that's what I'm realizing that sometimes I just miss.
I'm here to say my grandmother was bipolar manic depressive. My mother was bipolar. When I was scared. I was terrified that I would end up developing something like that. And living on my own in the Southwest and not having a physical sense slipping into some level of depression and without the ability to have any type of what do, right? I've had to claw my way to find resources. I'm not sponsoring.
Bringing it up.
This is some amazing stuff right here. I'm here.
Hey, what is it?
It's ashwagandha gummies with vitamin D.
All right.
It's just not overnight. It took me about 6 weeks to realize, oh, okay, we're getting somewhere. And so I've had to, because I've never been diagnosed anything. I know that I'm neurodivergent, but right,
Yeah.
and to mitigate these things without a religion,
Oh,
I truly think that there are some people that need religion, and then there are some that don't.
and there's we never developed it in the first place. Like we would find other ways to help them had we never given them this option in the first place. Therapy and stuff. But I think we're so far behind on psychiatry, psychology, and I think it's held us back.
I think that if we had implemented the way that other countries do, we'll see videos of their students in class meditating. At like 4 and 5 years old, they're learning breathing techniques.
Yes.
They're learning that emotions are okay, that they should flow. Coping mechanisms are just not taught to our society. But if you get people that have some cortisol in their system, that state of fear is more easily controlled. So why would with their feelings and their trauma? You wouldn't. But
right,
the best charter of control, not on your own understanding, whatsoever things are good and pure and holy, think on these things. That's just processing your feelings. It's not actually. There's a season for everything, to dance and to laugh and to cry and weep. You're just telling me things, but you're not actually helping me.
exactly.
I cannot stand the gaslighting that controls your every minute of every day, but doesn't actually help. Oh, God is the Prince of Peace, and the Holy Spirit is your comforter. What? Comforter of what?
No, it's not. It's really not. Relationship where it's all one-sided, where you're doing all the calling, where you're the one doing all like he leaves you on read all the time. He's like, what? Shoot, I'll get back to her later. I remember just
message again. I've called about 50 times. I hope you get back to me. My number is like that.
once in a while, it seems like a prayer gets answered. And for some reason, no matter how, we give the glory to God, even though it's never a supernatural way that it gets answered. So I will be praying, God, please help us. I cannot, pay all my bills. And then what? God's supposed to get the credit for that? God gets the credit for that? That's what we did. We did it all with you. Made this fried chicken for you. I brought over this potato salad. Here you go. Oh my God, isn't God great? No, Betty is. Betty did all that. Betty bore.
Right.
Like we do it all the time. It's so we did.
My mom had somewhat of an understanding of that. When she was told this story several times over the years, she said that the ladies came in and they sat down and they're getting their coffee and their Bible, and somebody's writing it all down, and my mom says, "Why are we praying for Irene?" And they're like, "Oh, she just had." Okay, did she have complications? No. Um, is her husband out of? She's just overwhelmed. Well, okay, but here we're 8 people deep.
Right?
Let's go over and help her. The thought of this.
Because it's
So they
easier
went
for
over
people.
and they cleaned her house from top to bottom, and they brought and took turns taking care of the baby so she could sleep. And they did that several weekends in a row to help her get through postpartum. And if everybody's experiencing postpartum, if the village came together to help instead of just pray.
Right? Yeah. Together.
Exactly.
We come together. And, we hear about it. We have our telling each other what's going on, and we figure out a way to help each other. And I love that about our community.
But Crystal, is postpartum demons?
Other thing, right?
Right.
Man, and guys don't really understand, but when you go through postpartum depression, you feel like the shittiest human being in the world because you feel that you are not overwhelmingly in love and happy by the birth of your child, which you might feel that way too, but at the same time, you are so you get out of bed and you're supposed to still get up, do it all, and have a smile on your fucking face while you do it. Oh my God, it was awful. I've told this story before. Okay, so when I go through postpartum depression with my third child, I know this for anything because I learned so young how to mask everything about anything. So I've masked so well. I'm depressed or not. I've just learned how to do what I have to survive this world, right? And I remember just having days where I woke up and I thought, I have to because because I have 3 children and they like fucking need to eat and they need their diapers changed and stuff. So I'm doing those like only if I have to do a thing is that thing actually like and I mean have to like a diaper has to be changed, right? I can tell Doug, can we pick up dinner? Can everybody fend for themselves, whatever.
Right.
So I'm doing the everything, and I remember specifically this one night I went out to get us some sub sandwiches, and we had a Subway that on Tuesdays had 2 for Tuesdays. So you got 2 footlongs for $5 back then. Or we go and pick up 4 sandwiches and feeds everybody, especially since we're a family of 5, but the kids are so little and the youngest one is a baby. And the line is like forever and people are so slow, and I remember I started to cross. This is gonna take forever. And I thought, oh my god, I seem so stupid. So I ran out to my car because I'm like, I don't and people, which seems like a lot to some people, but I come from California. That's a small town where I'm from.
Yeah.
And so we all knew. I head over to this other sub store that's around the corner. And I'm like going to pull in, but there's already like, oh no, there's construction, And I go in and I place my order and choose, and then they get their orders before me, and I just start crying in the middle of this sub shop because and I thought, oh my god, what is wrong with me? Like, I could not handle it. So finally, I went into a doctor depression, and he was like, okay, we're going to set you up with a psychiatrist. And I remember thinking then, balance due to childhood. Like, what's a psychiatrist going to do? Because what's he going to, like, how's he going to balance out too? You have to go to the psychiatrist because if you don't, I can take your baby.
Right.
Not a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So, I went to the psychiatrist and I started telling him about my, because I was like, I don't know where you want me to begin. Like, what do you want me to begin with? Because nothing happened recently that did this. Like, and he was like, what? I go, because I'm going to tell you my childhood, and then you're going to focus all on my childhood. But what if my childhood is tragic. I get it. Okay? I was abandoned when I was 3 years old by my mother. My father was 8 children were put into an orphanage. It's a horrible story. Yay. But what does that have to do? Take a while for me to understand the chemical imbalances and so forth, like, the effect of all your chemicals and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, that's what it all has to do. But it's just such a bitch because, like, you should just cheer up. Like, you should just be happy.
Oh, it sounds like what men do. Smile more.
obviously that's not gonna work. I remember driving behind cars, like driving behind one of the tramp coming off of the back, and I remember thinking, what if I just pushed my gas pedal down and just, but I would have those kind of intrusive thoughts, and Howard never had them since. I just thought, I remember too, not very long after that, Brooke Shields came out with her and said stupid shit about postpartum depression and taking medication and so forth. But to realize that I was normal, that postpartum depression is normal, that intrusive thoughts are normal and they don't mean you're a bad person. If you have an intrusive thought, it is because you're a bad person. Or you wouldn't have an intrusive. Realizing when she talked, because she tells a horrific story of a thought she had, and I'm going to share it with, but I did not judge her for this thought. Instead, when she said it out loud, it made me have thoughts of what would happen if I picked up my baby and like threw it against the wall and just like let it want to hurt my baby. Because that's not the thought. The thought isn't even anything. Even when I was thinking of like hitting the back of that truck, I didn't want to get hurt. It's just what is the cause and effect of this or whatever. And that's what she was thinking too. She was like, obviously, if I threw my baby against the wall, that could unalive me. Why I was even thinking it in the first place. You're not thinking it because you want to do something bad. You're thinking it because it's an you know? And so, yeah. But it is not demons. No, I never got exercise from any demon. And that was good to learn. It was all psychological for sure. 2 for Tuesdays continued on, and I was able to get good deals at Subway after. Hey, you guys, if you have questions for Deborah, don't forget the guest box is open. Come on up. We're talking to Deborah Grace, author of Creed. So come on up. Ask Deborah your questions. Okay, so Deborah, you're deconstructing, and what makes you decide to start doing content?
Quite honestly, 2 reasons. I've continued it 4 years later because I feel like it's helping. Content has helped other people feel heard. In the same way that Brooke Shields coming out talking about, we're telling other people there's a community here. There are people who care. You can ask questions and have these very long, in-depth conversations, sometimes for hours. why do you believe what you believe? Or why, hey, there's this community here, so you don't have to lose and feel shunned the way my ex said religion. It was just each other.
Hard.
It is really hard. Having people, a community online is
Absolutely. It really is.
sorry, I'm getting a little bit.
But you guys, we're both West Coast. This is around dinner time. You might actually hear people go into my kitchen in a minute because I'm not far from the kitchen, and they might be whipping. Um. So, when you first start to promote your book, do you channels? How are you doing it first?
Yeah, no, I was listening for my own lives. I did. It was a little challenging to sort of figure out, Initially, I didn't. Initially, it was just me in my living room talking to the screen, inviting people up. But I had done so much content, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of which are no longer there because I'm not supporting those fuckers. But a lot of people followed me over to TikTok, and there's been quite a shift in the last year and a half. But I wanted of YouTube book interviews, which helped. So, getting comfortable in those spaces, what is her name? Cynthia McDonald, Lambert, Tim Mills, Skeptic Haven, and being in those circles certainly helped. And I've seen some of them come, but I do this intentionally. I get online at least the very comfortable with public speaking, because it wasn't something that I was born to do. Didn't feel like I belonged. I felt like the black sheep of the family my whole life. And so getting comfortable, because I'm just not as confident as people think I am.
You do speak very eloquently. I love listening to you speak. So it does seem to come to peers that way, which I think is good.
That's the purpose. It's the reason. I mean, it's a lot. I don't think about it. I did, and I would get flushed, and I would get sweaty at first, and it would take me a while to get into a groove, and then it felt natural, got going. So I don't get nervous, and I don't have to catch my breath, and I don't feel like it's uncomfortable or unnatural. But making 4 years ago, and I'm like, I
me, by the way, you're the reason why I'm even on camera, and I think you know that. Do you know that? A year ago, you and I were talking, and I was doing like lives where during the day, like just talking with Christians and stuff, doing or whatever. And we were talking about numbers and stuff like that. And you were like, well, you need to get on camera because they like seeing you. And then when I decided to do Decon Q&A with CrystalJae, I was like, I'm going to be on camera for that show.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's because of you.
That's cool. I'm happy about that. I'm glad about that.
It's like I do good with like not being on camera. I'm good with that. So, and then like do makeup again. I haven't done makeup in years, and then I started doing my makeup and stuff. But you guys give people confidence in areas you probably be on the camera. Don't just sit there with a picture on your screen. I was like,
Well, some people can do it. Some people do it, and I've ever seen Thinker on her live with her camera on.
No, she's done it a couple of times. You do her little small box and she'll turn it on, but not often because, well, from what she told me, she doesn't want to have to worry about what she's doing on camera.
Right. Yeah.
So I agree. Like that's
True. No, I totally understand that, and there are people that forget and pick up their vape. This is why I kept going off screen, because I was taking a drink of adult beverages, and you're not supposed to do that on camera, and I'm like, fine.
A thing where I can earn money right off of sales or whatever. So I got this cool bottle opener that I was going to show everybody for Father's Day because the bottles are Corona, and I can't do the video I made because they're Corona. So now I have to go get some root beer. It's kind of silly that adults can't do adult things if they have adult settings, like they should
Right.
do adult things.
Right.
Adult settings. All right, so you start deconstructing, you start doing panels, and then you start going online. How are the sales for your book?
I don't even really pay attention anymore. I used to follow and track that quite, I think, 3,000 books in the first 2 years, which is decent, but I'm
that's actually
self-published.
really decent. Yeah, for some, and my aunt is an author, and
that's
so I
including
know
all of the Kindle. That's including all of the Audible countries it's available. That was the total, approximately in the first 2 years. It's been 4 now. No. And it's not as important to me. I think it was Benny that I gave it to, that I said, hey, here's the Kindle version. If people need resources resources, so let's make this available. And I wasn't the only author that did that either, so.
No. And I really like that too. Our information gets out there to as many people as possible. Not that they become rich, and not that you shouldn't. Like, or what they're doing or whatever, you're all full of shit. I hope all of you make a ton of money, whatever you're doing, especially if you are contributing to the thing is that y'all have been very open, forthcoming, and just gracious. And I think that has been more important to people like you, Jaron, and others, is that we actually. That's what I.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't feel that way the first couple of years of my writings and study compiled into one book, just reverse engineered. No, this isn't free, but especially over the past year and a half, feeling like republic that we live in, I just felt it was more necessary to try to wake people up from the grips of religion.
Yeah, absolutely. It is very scary times. So now, you do for yourself during these uncertain times? How do you help yourself?
That's an interesting question. I ask then I care to admit I, as an introvert, have a hard time reaching. I've spent so many years being the one who's reached out and reached out and reached out, and I never want to be a bother, and I never want to hold a lot of it in. And I've realized that there are times where I just have to unplug. I had never seen that before, so that's on my list. Any kind of sci-fi movies, I'll just unplug and watch that. Kind of a thing. I try.
What's your favorite sci-fi thing? Like, are you Star Wars, aliens? What are you into?
Yeah, so all of the above. Probably in all of those. I love Stargate. Anything Stargate.
Stargate. The movie?
Right. But if we're going even further back, Sliders with Jerry O'Connell.
Yes.
Love that. So drawn to freaking Twilight, but I love Twilight.
I've never been into Twilight because I can't.
Why? Because Jesus wants you to be a vampire?
I guess. I don't know. I have always.
This is my blood.
That is like Abe Lincoln and Martin Luther King and I don't know and all kinds of books. They were always reading and getting ready to return and exchange them for new ones, right?
Right.
And then one day this key memory came back to me. Realized, wait a minute. When I was growing up, we had this cabinet in our bathroom, romance novels. just like just a ton of them in it. The kind with was it Fabio?
Fabio.
Fabio.
Yeah.
Him on the cover and shit,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why did you read that crap, Mom? Anyway, she also read really good books too, but for some reason she liked her raunchy little.
The last book that you bought.
I have it right here. The last book I bought is. Oh, wait. The last book I bought is this one, Chinese Wisdom.
Okay.
The Way of Perfect Harmony. Oh, wait, you can't see it. People's Opinion. By Joy Adamson.
Okay. Deleted it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wait, I gotta blow you up so I can see. What is that? I've never read that book and I graduated in 84. I don't know why I don't read that book.
And then this one is People's History of the United States.
Oh, good. That's a good one.
Yeah, I had to buy that.
I also got this. This is Science and Hell with Key to the Scripture Christian Science. And I just wanted to know what the ridiculousness is of this, so I picked it up. You fucking talking about. How do people read this stuff and go, she's on to something? She's on to something. Truth independent of doctrines and time-honored systems knocks at the portal of humanity. Contentment with the past, and this was written in the 1800s, by the way. Ignorance of God is no longer the stepping stone to faith. The only guarantee of obedience is life eternal. Though empires fall, the Lord shall reign forever. Anyway, I just like to read stuff like this to see what is Christian Science. Why did she think she figured it out, and why did people follow it?
What do you coming out of religion? I have both of mine right here that I bought at the same time. So this is the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Christian Myth. I bought that one, and then I bought this one.
You guys might have been the first. You and Jared might be the first books I bought that had to do with like deconstructing.
Really?
Right? And I didn't really read books. I watched the church, and then what would happen if I just, like Mezzo says, if I just try being an atheist? Like, I didn't say it quite like that, but I was like, what if I quit pride and see if anything changes? Will I suddenly have, a bunch of curses put on me? Or I don't know, like I stopped doing the stuff, and then I realized like nothing changed. Actually, I have problems that I gotta fucking solve them. I gotta quit thinking some magic man is gonna figure this out for me. I have to actually do the work.
That was so hard. That was probably the hardest thing of anything, was to realize it's when I started writing. My ex was a project manager, and in different aspects. And I thought that I could lean on him to help get me through the processes where I was going to be publishing. About halfway through writing, I said, because his parents were living with us at the time, and his son and son's wife and two daughters, we were for his son, and he still had a full-time job working from home, and he was still taking care of 5 acres of land. And he said, but I will tell you, treat it like a project manage yourself. And not only did that help me, because I was just like, oh, I know all about construction and project management, so I'll just treat this like a project. But every day like a project. Okay, I've got this and this and this and this. I'm going to list everything. And it became like this obsessive work for me.
That's really wise. I it's all on you. There is no God. There's nobody pulling you out of this, girl. You gotta figure this shit out for yourself. There's no magic not gonna happen. But I like what Joel said the other night. And Joel, if you aren't credit again, Joel, because I always give you credit. Anyway, look at that as overwhelming, but the reality is it's empowering. Yeah. We are the motherfuckers in control. We figure it all out, and we get to do it the way we want to,
It's all about perspective.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't actually have to rely on somebody. And by the way, what was I going to rely on? A 50-50 chance he might answer my prayer. It was just, like I said, I did something to change my outcome, and then I gave him credit for it, But it is up to me. It's scary sometimes, because, imposter syndrome. I have
same thing to Dr. Joshua Bow.
Tell them about it.
Like, oh, good. I don't feel so. He does the same thing. He defers to other people when he's not comfortable about answering a question that he probably could answer.
Yes. You know, so you figure out like that you're the one gonna do it all, and I don't know. It was overwhelming, and now I don't have to guess on whether somebody's gonna answer prayer or not, because they're not going to. That's not gonna happen. And if I just
Yeah.
it's scary though, again, during times like what we're going through right now. And during these times, the depression gets to me really bad, and I also have to shut everything off, and I have to, and I feel like that's very privileged of me, and then I get guilt and shame for being able. The guilt and shame is kind of hard to deal with,
Mm.
and I'm working on that. But if I don't, and it's kind of like because one time it was somebody close to me who said when I made the comment, media and the news and all that for a little bit, they said, "Oh, that's very privileged." Now, this is coming from a relative of mine, okay? So this person, and I said, I'm aware that I have that privilege. I'm aware that that is a privilege. I'm aware before I assist somebody else.
Oh, for
And
sure.
right now, I can't breathe. And if I don't,
Right.
I've got to put that oxygen mask on first, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really to now going through deconstruction during these years have been a fucked up time to be going through deconstruction. Other than this world, it's been like just wild.
Right. And then I don't know if anybody told you this one. In a timeline where all of this shit is happening because this is the hell that God put me into for deconstruction.
Oh my God, the shit these people will come up with.
Right.
So, Deborah, this is all just
The guilt, the shame.
Do they not realize what they're saying?
Sure. Right. No. That I had as a Christian that didn't get answered were because God knew eventually I would turn away from Him.
Oh, okay.
For quite some time. And now I don't give a fuck. Right? Listen, I know, based off of the work and all of the different areas in which I sought information, the people that I listen to, that takes up a lot of my time. If I get into a relationship, right, you spend an awful lot of time online. okay, but if much time online, I do have a 9 to 5 job, and I do spend quite a bit of time. I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't.
Of course.
I can't make everybody happy, nor am I here to be anybody's court jester. What I'm comfortable doing in the moment, and that's it. And if somebody wants to guilt and shame me, that's fine. I've been called demonic and demon and possessed, and I've been called every name in the book. Like, what else are you gonna do?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna take that power away from you to guilt and shame me. Because you don't walk in my pain, my tears, the blood that I've shed. You don't know me. So to try to guilt and shame me, I'm just like, reset, blocked, checkmate. You don't get to shame me, whether that is my safety, my security, my family, nothing. It took a long time for me to get to the place where I'm comfortable setting them. Nobody's gonna fucking take those away from me.
Hell yeah.
Did anybody make you feel guilty or shamed?
Thanks. I really try not to. I along a lot with my mental illness. Like, I'll never sometimes I have to come to my friends or my family. Am I supposed to feel this way? Because when you have bipolar, you don't always know if you're regulating your. Sometimes I just have to say, is this, am I supposed to feel guilt and shame right now? Which, of course, I don't think people should feel guilty.
So I have a flip calendar with affirmations at work. A good year and a half, 2 years, I would cycle out post-it notes on my bathroom mirror with things that I wanted to remember that had or shame or inadequate in any way. So it's because the years and years of conditioning that we weren't good enough takes a lot to overcome.
It's true. I was doing a live, and I was talking about guilt and shame then too. That's so funny. And Pax was saying, of course, you have these. You have good to have you here. Me says that your book came in yesterday. Said, when are you going to? Oh, I might start crying again. Pax makes me cry. Pax comes out. You get to give yourself the same love and compassion that you give your children. I was like,
Yeah.
what? What? But that's a hard one for me. I've got love and compassion that I would ever have that for me.
I had a Post-it note on a calendar that was on the back of one of my doorways that basically said, treat yourself the way that you would care for you as a, so like I'm in the same room with me as a younger self, and I'm caring. My adult is caring for my younger self.
And I was telling Pax that I
Very
used to have a
similar.
blog that I did that. I had a blog called Dear Little Crystal, where the adults in Crystal's life failed her. But I changed the outcome of the story, and I protected little Crystal. And I wrote that blog for a little while, but the other thing that Pax thinks that I should not feel guilt or shame for, because the entire religion teaches me to feel guilt and shame about everything. And that was, I see it there. There's one of the deconstructing aha moments for me, where I was like, "But religious guilt and shame plays into my daily life with other, topics, aspect of our life."
Do you want a heavy one? Do you want a heavy hitter?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm ready.
All right. There's a book that I read last week, Green. Yeah. Do you have that
I've
one?
heard of that.
Yeah.
I don't. I think that I do have it on Audible, but is it on Audible or Kindle? I have it on Kindle.
Audible. Yeah.
I think I have it on Kindle. But I haven't read it yet, but I've heard really good things about it from Nick.
Yeah, heavy book. And it goes into how many different ways women are just
Say the book again and the author again for chat. R.J. Green, right?
I'll put it in. I actually recommend this book more often than probably my own book.
Things about it. I think we should have Ty here do a book club on it, because she's looking for books for book club.
Doing it as part of the book, or they were going to, and didn't get to it. Powerful.
What was something very powerful you could share with us from the?
But I thought it was really beautiful the way they kind of the moon in the phrase lunacy, right? Lunacy. And then they how beautifully similar a woman is to a moon, that she can be cold and dark, but she can blush in all these different shades of romantics in the way that she affects people around her, something like that. And it was just so beautiful, taking back that power from, like, one of the concepts that's conveyed right? And we're not just talking about as best as she can, given the tools that she's given, she'll regulate and offload those emotions that tries to get enough rest, and because she bleeds and because she gives her nutrients to the babies. And that cycle helps her regulate the emotions. But alternatively, in a patriarchal society, that's been the default for men is just anger. Because they don't allow themselves to go through the natural cycles. Very powerful book.
That is really powerful. And also, for some reason, I never put the word, it never dawned on me that that was its root word for the moon.
And most women are governed by a 28-day cycle.
I used to have 2 periods a month.
What?
It bled frequently and a lot, and it was horrible. And I remember at one point, by the way, before I tell this story, I say something about it doesn't mean I don't love him, okay? But I remember one time he said to me, "No, you do." And he goes, "You don't have 2 periods a month. You're right on track with the moon." And I was like, okay. And so then I got a phone call from my friend. Okay, it was July, by the way. Anyway, and I told her, I'm just, I'm on my period again. I felt horrible. And she goes, "You saying again? Like, why do you know? What? Why does everybody think they know my cycle?" And she goes, "Oh, Bo, you told me that day that you were on your period and you were going to sit on a towel so you didn't ruin the leather on my bow. But my brother had all over my bow, and I was so pissed because here you were being so sweet and so nice, and then here comes my like that."
Right.
And I was like, "Oh my God, that did happen." I cannot tell you how fast I was like, "Doug, see, I told you." So horrible. And I went to doctor after doctor. You know what they want to do? They just are like, "Let's put you on birth." And I was no longer having children. I was already in my 40s, overweight, with menorrhagia. In case you guys don't know, don't do that. If you are overweight and you are in your late 40s, do not let your doctor just tell you birth control, okay? That's not the healthiest option. But it never dawned on me that they would use the word. So they derived lunacy because of, like, they felt that the moon made people funny. Just never put those words together for some reason.
Yeah.
You guys, it is everybody minor decline, but I can't let Deborah sit up here alone. So I'm going to need some of you, Kelly, Hannah, T7. I box right now. I'm going to just start sending out invitations. Y'all better come up here and play some divine or decline with us. What? How come my invite any of you. And then I'm inviting you. What are you guys doing? I don't need you to know the Bible. I need you to have a good time with us. Get up here and have fun, etc. I sent you everybody an invite. Get on up here, you guys. If I can send you an invite, I'm inviting you. If I can't send you an invite, I'm not. Hey, how you doing? All right, you guys, let me get T7's coming up. Yay, La Paqueta is here. Okay, hey, if you're a subscriber, check out your emotes right now and drop some of your favorite emotes in chat because I made new. I'm so excited about it. I'll show you my favorite one, okay? I will show.
And Crystal, you can't send me an invite because I always keep my shit on private.
Oh, okay. That one is funny.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I gotta take all my vitamins. You wanna see what
Wow.
tray?
That's smart, though.
It's like vitamin. You can't. Like, I actually ordered the biggest like tray you can get. So much bigger than actual medications.
Oh, that's true. They can
And I'm
be
like,
really
I've
big.
got minerals and I've got vitamins and I've got burn.
Yeah, it's a very inexpensive trick too, Hannah, because you can get those for like $1 or $2. I think I can't blow you up too soon. Okay, there we go.
What?
Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got a regular. Yours is a regular pill holder. Huh? What are we cooking in the crock pot there, T7?
Okay, so as far as the crock pot, that would be a 7 best clearance in there. And
Oh, that sounds so good.
the beef roast.
That sounds good.
I was marinated for half the day. So as far as my pills,
Nice.
that's a Meprazole, a multivitamin, vitamin E, and fish oil.
Oh, I have you.
And then I have a mini fridge in my. I have a little mini fridge in my bedroom, and I keep all that in there.
Everybody ready for their favorite game? You guys, this is the game we're gonna play. It's divine or decline. The rules are simple. Hey, there is
I didn't do it.
well, we're almost done. I'm not gonna worry about it. I need to. I need. Just know anywhere the money is going to help me get a new computer so I can end this horrible issue with YouTube. I am so tired of it. Enter a browser window into OBS to send it out to YouTube from TikTok because I can't use TikTok Studio because TikTok Studio crashed of the RAM and stuff. So I'm really sorry there's echo on YouTube. What I do at the end of the show though is I download this from TikTok and I will put it up, get a clean video if you want to watch it again or listen to it later. Okay, so here's how the game works. I'm going to Bible, and I use the New American Standard Bible because it is free. All right, everybody ready? We're going to start with you, T7. And Coriantum was the son of Emer.
Klein.
Lapaquet. Okay, we'll move on. Is it called? Oh wait, Lapaquet. Decline. Okay. Wait, now I want to know. Okay. How do I say that?
Clara. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Okay, Clara.
I want to say. Actually,
Coriantum was the son of Emer.
I'm going to say divine.
Okay, etc.
I'm going divine as well.
Divine.
All right, that was Decline. That's Book of Mormon. Ether 128. I did be sneaky.
Isn't the Book of Mormon divine?
No, no, no.
To continue this game with you guys.
Okay. No worries. Come on back. All right. They will say, do not your messenger pray, but the prayers of the disbelievers will always be in vain. La Paquette. Okay. Clara.
It sounds
Oh, it's Paquette. Your name wrong.
It's Pocket.
Paquette.
Yeah, it's
I'm
Pocket.
sorry. I like to learn how to say things right. So, okay, Paquette. And
Can you repeat that again?
yeah, they will say, do not your messengers come to you with clear signs will always be in vain.
I would say divine, but you are so tricky though. Alright, I'm gonna stick to divine, but I think it's decline. I'm gonna stick to divine.
No, I'm with you. I'll go decline. We can.
The reason why I'm going to say decline is because I looked up the word prayer.
Okay, that is decline. That is the Quran. You know about the pronunciation. All right. Next up. It is a trap for a person to say carelessly, it is holy. T7, let me know when you're back. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going down La Paquette.
Can you say that again?
Yep. It is after the vows to make inquiry.
I'm going to say decline.
All
I remember me reading anything like that.
right. Okay, etc.
I'll decline.
Use that against believers.
Well, start using it now because that's Proverbs 20:25.
Whoa.
You said 2025.
Yep, Proverbs
I'm locking that to
20:25.
memory. Proverbs 2025. Okay.
When I have Form 10 and breathed into him my spirit, fall prostrate before him. La Paquette.
Can you, would you mind repeating that?
Yeah, no problem. When I have formed him and breathed into him my spirit, fall prostrate before him.
A apostrophe
No,
A-L?
fall. Fall.
Oh!
Fall.
Fall. Read it again, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Spirit, fall prostrate before him. Clara.
I don't know. Someone pick. What is it, Decon? I'm gonna go with previous person.
Okay.
Why you say okay?
Don't ever read anything in
My
there.
answer.
Don't do that.
Okay. All right, I won't.
I just say things like don't pay attention.
Decline as well.
Okay, Deborah.
I'm going to decline.
Page 72 in the Holy Quran. All right. Next up. Then Paul and Silas drank and ate La Paquette.
I'm gonna say divine.
Yep. Then Paul and Silas drank and ate. After they had rested, they continued to do great works.
I'll go divine as well.
Deborah?
Paul and Silas. Yeah, I'll say divine.
You're too good at it.
You love me. You love me. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. La Paquette.
To kind of get a grip on where they may have come from.
Can you please repeat that again?
Yep. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful.
Oh, I'm gonna stick with divine. I love you.
Okay, it said, I love you too.
I know, I feel like it's been a lot of declines in her.
All right, Deborah.
I'm going to say decline because I think the verse is be perfect as your Father is perfect.
Well, so that is divine, and it's Luke 6:36. So it's in New American Standard. It's merciful, I guess. T7, are you back? You're not back. Okay. Are you? Therefore, treat people the same way you want them to treat you, for this is the law and the prophets. T7. La Paquette. Clara.
Divine.
Etc.
Decline. This is a trap.
Time.
In everything, therefore, treat people the same way you want them to treat you, for this is the law and the prophets.
I don't think that's the actual verse, but I'm not used to reading it in the New American Standard Bible. So, prophets. I'll go ahead and say divine.
It is divine.
Ah,
That would be Matthew 7:12.
I'm glad I got that one.
2 points for me. Yay!
Yay! Okay. Lay down your in battle. T7.
Can you repeat it, Crystal?
Guys, know that the Lord will be with you in battle.
That would be divine.
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
Yep. Lay down your swords on the rock. When you arise, know that the Lord will be with you.
It sounds like it's divine, but I'm not sure. I'll go with divine.
Okay, etc.
divine.
Deborah.
Story surrounding Gideon, but I don't remember them laying down their swords. I remember them laying down their torches.
It was brilliant of you, Deborah, because that was Decline. I made it up. I remembered some weird story too, so I just threw something in there. I got a rock on this one. Okay.
Your ways, Crystal.
Okay. Ill-gotten gains do not benefit, but righteousness rescues from death. La Paquette.
I'm going to say decline.
Clara.
Please repeat.
Righteousness rescues from death.
It sounds like divine, but I'm gonna Crystal. Decline.
All right, etc.
Decline.
Probably come across this in my research for atonement verses, so I'm going to say decline.
What? And you guys, this is number 10. This is for all the marbles. So, yeah, be ready. His people returned to the city and began to dwell in the land again in peace. T7.
Decline.
Clara.
How many points is this? I need about like 12 points. What was the question? Say it.
The question is, to the city and began to dwell in the land again in peace.
Decline?
All right, etc.
I'll decline it.
Deborah.
He and his people. Who is he? Who is this people? What is this piece we're talking about? I'm going to say decline.
Good names out, otherwise you would have figured out that it is Decline, Book of Mormon, because it mentioned like Nephi or somebody in that actual verse. Decline or Decline.
I got 50-50.
I really enjoyed that. Can we do that again?
Hey, we right now, I am taking a little time off. I'm trying to get my house cleaned up. I've had a little bit of a depression house for a while now, and I've been working on it, and I'm trying to get out of that. So I want to will join Joyful and I on Monday and Thursday nights. We go live at 4 p.m. If you are a deconstruction creator and you'd like to be on my show, just send me a DM here or on Discord. I'll be booking more people towards the end of June and into July. I'm going to be gone for a little while in July, but then I'll be back to my regular schedule after my trip to Austin. Deborah, when do you go live again next?
I go live most often on Sundays. Occasionally, I'll go live on a Sunday. And so I went live today earlier, about 11 today. I was live for 4 hours. And that's about the time that I do. If it's not afternoon, it's started earlier.
You guys, don't forget to pick up Deborah's book, Crucify the Bible. It's available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. Have Siri read it to you on your Kindle, because you get your tables then, and you get to see all of the information she's put together for you. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
That's so funny. Anyway, so make sure you pick up her book today. It's an amazing book. It will really help you with your deconstruction journey. And Deborah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Cetra, Clara, La Paquette, and T7. Thank you for coming up and playing my game with me. You know I love it when you guys come up. Now, I have some wonderful people in the works for us, including, crossing fingers, Dr. Blitz might join me. So we're going to see if Ian... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can I just say one more thing? The book isn't necessarily just for deconstruction. It's online. If you want to help spread this awareness about critical thinking and just looking at the Bible through different lenses, I refer back to my own book in conversations in my lives and in other people's lives all the time.
And you know, I like the idea of putting tabs in your book, almost like you do with the Bible, so that you can quickly turn to things when you're 7. You were going to say something. Go ahead.
It was actually my fault. I'm terrible at interrupting people sometimes.
Oh, you're fine.
Be here. I miss you guys, and so sometimes I haven't been around as much as I once was, and I think it's because things have kind of been going south ever since the beginning of the year. I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I'm always happy to see you guys.
Well, we're
Yeah,
happy
the
you're here.
political
You know,
climate is heavy.
fun and joyful's lives. I don't know if you guys heard him talking about this or not, but we're going to be taking some Bible stories, and then we're going to kind of come up and join us. You'll be like kind of assigned who your character is and everything ahead of time, so you'll know like ahead of time who you're perform them live. But give those small characters voices, if you will, you know? So, yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to it.
I'm sorry, Clara, what?
I think that sounds nice. I mean, I'm not a good actress. I don't think that's gonna work out for me.
Well, come join us. Join us.
If it interests you, if not, that's fine too. Just be a viewer and comment the laughing emojis or whatever. It's fine.
Ask me, Crystal, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Hey, you guys. I'm starting working on a people that are interested in having the same interest of doing one. For those that are starting their deconstruction journey, because it was a hard religion. So if you are interested, please send me a DM, because I really want to get this started and get this going.
Even more than just a cookbook, it is a cookbook workbook, and it's about different religions, and it's really exciting. So if you get a chance, make sure you would like to be a part of, because it's really cool, and it's gonna be a group effort. Like, she cannot do this alone. So hit her up if you think that might be something. And here, is there somebody we should be rating? I know Justin is live. Is there any smaller creators that we might want to help out? If not, we could always hit up Justin. Yeah.
We gotta rate Dr. Hannah. It's her birthday today.
Oh, what?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my Teller Crystal Raid, and you guys, thank you so much again for being here. I